What's up, everybody? How you doing? Mike Watson, aka Most Epic Art, in the building, also known as the publisher of Freestyle Comics. And this is a little show I like to call Chat and the Draw, because this is what we do: is chatting and drawing. What kind of updates do we have for the Freestyle Comics family? It's all good in the hood. We have just ordered a massive amount of books. That is including the books for our Kickstarter for 5-star number 2. Digital rewards have gone out on that. We've ordered the books for Green Zone number 2 and number 3, and the digital rewards have gone out on that as well. And we've just ordered a massive inventory backstock of all of our books to get restocked for everything. We are going to be everywhere in June. Our comic book convention adventure hypes up. We are at Animate, Columbus Animate. We are at Anime Ohio, and we are at Detroit Motor City Black Age Manga and Comic Con. Say that 5 times fast. I'm not, but you can try it. But we will be venturing out to those shows. Detroit is a great show. Love it. So we'll be making a return there. We've never been to Anime Ohio, so we're trying to get super stacked for that. And Animate is a first-time show happening in Columbus, courtesy of GalaxyCon. So very, very excited about that. My panel list for GalaxyCon is stacked. I've got 2 panels on Friday, 3 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday, and I'm going to be a part of Drink and Draw. I'll probably talk about the panels later because I want y'all to come down there. I want to argue with you. One of the panels I'm looking forward to is why are mangas outselling Western comics? That is a heated topic that's been on social media a lot and stuff like that. But I digressed. I have a new show that I do with Tony Clapper. It's called What the Fig. It is a toy collector show that we do on Saturdays following the Four Tales podcast on the Agents of Geekdom Network. We had a first episode last week. You can catch that up on our YouTube channel if you want to go check it out. And we have a fresh new episode coming in this Saturday, and all the buzz and all that stuff. I think that's kind of what FSCon. FSCon is happening, everybody. It's happening. It's in progress. It's moving. The gears are turning. November 3rd to the 5th here in Columbus. It will be in person and virtual. We're planning all our panels. We're getting all our guests together. I say we got about half the guest list confirmed. We're confirming food trucks and things like that. So be on the lookout for more information. I might just do a chat and draw episode exclusively talking about FSCon. So be on the lookout for that. But I think that's all we got. Let me bring up my co-host, Amayu. What's up, Amayu?
I am here, okay? Didn't think I was going to make it, but I am here 2 root canals later, and I'm feeling great now.
That is awesome. We're glad to have you. We missed you last week, but we know as we have you on a rotating schedule, you're so popular. You're on 2 podcasts at the same damn time. So we get you every other week.
Yes. I really wish y'all would change the date so I could do both podcasts because I really love both of the shows. But until that happens, I will just, we'll go back and forth. We're like a throuple. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Me, you, me, him. It works.
Well, I'm selfish and greedy, so we might switch the day. We might switch the day around.
That would work for me.
We'll see what we can do. But yeah, it's good to have you back on here. But we are about to bring out a show regular. He's been on the show more than a few times, and we've gotten to draw some of his kick-ass characters. And let's go ahead and bring them out in that chat and draw fashion that we have.
Wait a second. A new opponent has interrupted the tournament.
What's up, Brian? How you doing?
What's going on, everybody? I am glad to be here. Glad to be back, right? Like,
yeah,
it's been a minute, but yeah, man, I'm glad to be back in the seat, in the hot seat, as it were.
Awesome. Well, J-Man's in the building. What's up, J-Man?
I was just about to bring that up. I'm like, J-Man, we missed you. What was that, a week ago or 2 weeks ago?
Well, so apparently J-Man was watching. He just was not typing because he was sick. So his
stream is
still intact.
Okay, so his record remains.
His
Hey,
record
J-Man.
remains 247 episodes in a row.
Good. I love it. Got to be faithful. Be the faithful few, you know?
Absolutely. Well, Ron, absolutely love having you back on the show, man. It's always good conversation or whatnot. I know you have your project right now, Justice the Fall, number 1 through 4 on Kickstarter. I just put the link in the chat. So, chat, if you're seeing that, if you have not pledged to it, pledge to it. And
I appreciate you. Yeah, you know what? Actually, last time we were on, man, I was still in Nightfall. Like I was knee deep in Nightfall, which we successfully finished, which I'm super happy about. That was 5 issues. But again, I get to turn back to Justice and do my thing. Obviously, everybody knows I love the character, my flagship guy. So it's great to be able to kind of tie up this first story arc. And I mean, you don't have this problem, right? But like, there's the indie curse, man. They talk about the indie curse, the 3-issue curse. So it's good to be able to get out here and not like have that curse, you know, not have that specter hanging over my head. You know what I mean? So I like having a legit ongoing series and being able to continue the story tale. So yeah, we're over 2/3 of the way done now. We're 2/3 of our goal, man. Again, it's day number 2. We've been just trucking along. So again, I won't complain about any of it. I love what we're doing. I love being able to do this indie comics thing itself and to kind of break some new barriers each time we come out. So
absolutely. So just to let everybody know, chat and everyone watching, I am drawing in Clip Studio, so this may not be as fast as I normally am because I normally draw on my iPad. But I am trying to teach myself Clip Studio in the same fashion that I learned how to draw on the iPad. So we will be experimenting, and we'll see what we can get done.
So why aren't you using Clip on the iPad?
Because Clip does not have all the same tools and things that is on the computer.
Okay, so I ended up buying both, right? So I have Clip for the computer, but I bought the one-time license or whatever, and I'll go and do maybe lettering or finishing touches, a few things in there. But all the pictures that I'm coloring right now, I color almost exclusively in Clip because I really like the platform. The platform is very intuitive. I feel like it just works real well.
It is. I enjoy Clip. I want to use Clip more for finished drawing comic pages. I'm a fan of Fish Lee, who also has a Kickstarter going right now for Caw. And seeing what Fish is able to produce and do with just the Clip Studio for his pages, for his background, and things like that. I want to punch up my pages to that level. So I'm trying to learn the system. But I think I definitely prefer Procreate for the actual drawing, for pinup work, coloring for me. And obviously the fact I can take my iPad anywhere I go.
Yeah. So I definitely do a little bit of both, right? So I will use Procreate for like a few things. Like Procreate is if I want to put a glare real quick on a picture, it's way easier in Procreate because it's just a brush right there. Boom. But then, you know, some other little things. Again, I think the last 3 or 4 covers or pinups that I've done have all been colored in Clip. So again, man, just going back and forth and being able to mix the tools is actually pretty dope. That's why I keep both of them on my iPad, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I got the AirDrop. I got the AirDrop feature on my Mac, so I may do my drawing and rendering and stuff and starting stuff in Clip, and then in Procreate, and bring it over into Clip, touch it up with some inking and things like that. So playing around with it, having multiple tools will get you further than just sticking to one.
Yeah, definitely.
J-Man says, yeah, I was about to apologize about last week. I had a health scare and went to my doctor that day, and I was not feeling myself and just didn't interact while watching the show, but I apologize. But I'm going to be good. I end up having, he
had the reflux. It's okay, J-Man. Right. I got that too. I take the little pill.
Stop drinking orange juice with pulp. We grown now. We can't take pulp. It is what it is. Like, I love pulp too. I want it. I can't do it.
Yeah. What's up, Kyron? Actually, I didn't get to talk to Fish about it, but I need to give him an invite to the show so we can promote his Kickstarter. And then I'm going to, obviously pledge to it and back it. We're going to back Justice tonight as well. But for those of us who, for our new viewers or new listeners or whatnot, go ahead and tell them about Justice the Fall 1 through 4.
I was about to say, because I'm like, y'all chatting like y'all old buddies. I get that, but what about me and the new folks? So yes, please do introduce yourself.
We forget it's like a cookout every time. Like it's like, oh, I'm just gonna come in, I'm gonna say what's up, auntie, and then keep it pushing, right? Like
right.
But no, so Justice is a story about an archangel who comes down to earth. He's an archangel in charge of justice. Whereas, Raphael is healing, Uriel is light, like his domain is justice. And so he comes down to earth after X amount of years, and it's his first like real lengthy experience on earth. And so he realizes very quickly that like everything is in black and white. Like there's the defining line between heaven and hell is in black and white. There's treachery on both sides. There's some heroism on both sides. And like humans, there's like a lot of gray. So it's his journey to basically find the voice of God. God plans on speaking over the earth again, as you've seen in, the Old Testament or whatever. Problem with that is God, this being, right, is the most powerful being in existence. Mm-hmm. So even a whisper from his voice can end and restart life. So that's why it speaks to a proxy. And so this proxy is missing. That's a problem for everybody. And the story of Justice 1 through 4 tells why this proxy is missing, who is in cahoots for this proxy to go missing, and why. Without too many spoilers, there are some people that again, this is all based on Christian mythology, what I like to say Christian mythology, because it's not a faith-based comic, but again, it uses a lot of the principles of Christianity in terms of storytelling. And so you get to meet, obviously, if you've read issue 3, you know that Cain is in issue 3, and Cain is a very big important part of the entire story, as is Judas Iscariot, because he debuts in issue 2. So it really weaves kind of a twisted and dark history of the world that we know now, and it's just another part of what we like to call the Wingverse, our Wingless Comics universe, which kind of starts down its branching path with a series that we have called Immortalis, which is about the fall of Constantinople. So the last Roman outpost falls, and that sets the stage for everything that happens after. That's what makes the world go darker than it is, and like basically evil has hold of the wingless earth. And so we're seeing the turning in the war now with Justice 1 through 4.
Okay, wow, that was quite a backstory. Now you said it's not a faith-based, but you do use Christian-based mythology, or Christian mythology is what you referred to it as.
Yeah,
but
so
would it be okay to give to like Christian kids or not?
Yes. So yes, but I feel like I feel like most comics are, right, especially if you're talking about the indie space.
Yeah.
It is, when I say it is not a faith-based comic, it is not something that espouses what I believe or what I believe people should believe or any of those kinds of things. Just as Thor is not a Norse religion-based comic, Justice is not a Christian religion-based comic, right? The Norse religion, the Greek religion, which they were in their times, have now become mythologies because their stories passed down that people don't necessarily practice at the moment. We take that same treatment with the Christian historical context as far as Wingless Comics goes, and especially Justice, where we are using, again, there is a historical bridge that we kind of all know. I mean, we're in Anno Domini. There's like a reason, there's a reason it's before Christ in Anno Domini, right? So there is a historical bridge that we all have. And that is what Justice uses. Now, it is not anti-church. It is not pro-church. It is not anti-religion. It's not pro-religion. It just uses the base to tell a story that is actually universal. And it's a story about choices. It's a story about questioning what you were told as you grew up. It's a story about coming into your own as a person or as a being, which I think is very important in the context of comics teaching children.
Right. Okay. Wow, that's really interesting. So I'm sure you've probably talked about this with Mike before, but since I'm new to you, I just want to know, how did you even get started into comics? Was this like a talent that you had as a kid and you cultivated as an adult, or did you come into it later in life?
A little bit of both. I think that, again, I'm an 80s baby. And so when we were growing up, I feel like comics were very important, as were cartoons and all these other various media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, in the 90s, Image Comics hit. I wanted to be the next member of Image Comics. I thought I was going to be an artist and be able to do all of that. And so I used to draw and the whole deal. But again, at that point in the 90s, 94, 95, 96, even 99, you couldn't just knock on Marvel's door and be like, hey, I got this thing, you should like it, right? Like you wouldn't get anywhere. So I kind of put it away for a while. My field of study is creative writing. That's what I have my bachelor's degree in. So I was fortunate enough to start with novel writing. And after I self-published my first novel, Facebook at the time, which is just a few years ago now, it's just 4 or 5 years ago now, it was just so much easier to like link up with people that were doing the same thing in this indie community. So I linked up with people like Mike. I linked up with Concrete Comics and Newton Little Voice and just Greg Anderson, Elise, just all these guys who are my peers now doing comics. And I saw that they were doing it. So when they were doing it, I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I can do this too. And so just kind of one thing led to another, just doing some editing projects. And then just kind of starting and saying like, sometimes we let ourselves stop us from achieving our greatness. And as a person who struggles with imposter syndrome, I deeply understand that. You know what I mean? It's difficult sometimes. And then sometimes you just got to throw caution to the wind and say, hey, it's something I want to do. And regardless of whatever anybody else thinks about it, I can sustain this for the rest of my life. I can do this for the next 50, 60, 70 years on my own without anybody giving me anything. And it's something that I'm passionate about. So I just kind of dove in. And like I said, I've been very fortunate that people have really liked what I've done so far and liked what we're building at Wingless Comics. And just been very, very, very supportive.
Wow.
Right. I'll tell you right now. I know people got to deal with their own stuff, but you can throw that imposter syndrome shit out the window because I know you the real deal, baby.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. Look, hey, tell me that in 2 weeks when I'm still in this campaign and nobody likes me. I ain't made no money. Oh Jesus, you know what I mean? It's hard, man. You know, I feel like creative people in general, everybody does this, but creative people in general, in order to create, you have to live in your head, and your head sometimes is a hellscape because you're creating a hellscape for your characters. You know what I mean? Like you have to live in all these environments that you've created, and sometimes that's difficult. Sometimes when you think you did something that's the greatest thing ever, and nobody, it's the Facebook or TikTok. You spend all day putting together a video and you get 5 likes, and you're like, damn, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I actually did love and I did want to be one of the Wildcats. So whoever that Facebook user is, you are 100% right. I still love Jim Lee. Jim Lee is one of the greatest artists of all time, comic artists of all time, in my opinion. I loved Wildcats. The stories didn't make no damn sense though. The longer and longer it went on. So yeah, I definitely but I loved everything they did over in Image, man. It was just so, it felt like when they were doing things that like they were inviting us to be able to do it as well. Cause they were like, we're being Mavericks. We're going to break off from DC and Marvel. And I was like, well, damn, if they could do it, then everybody can.
Wow.
Of course it's Malachi. Yes, Malachi. I wanted to be a Wildcat. You know that.
Right.
Malachi, I want to say shouts out to Malachi real quick. Malachi running away with 4 Glyph nominations for her.
Oh, yeah.
Great comic. I'm super proud of him. Just everything he's done and being a real great support of the entire team while also doing his own thing. It's a beautiful thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's super dope. Congrats.
Thank you.
So I can't wait. I gotta get into
it.
So Brian is working on a new project. He is taking over the writing duties for Emerald Quest. And this man's busy. This man is busy as hell. And I don't know, we just talk. We're back and forth. Brian and I talk all the time. An idea here, conversation here, little what's up here, checking in, all that stuff. And I was getting my copies of the crossover with why am I forgetting the studio's name?
Well, with Constant Hustle.
Yeah, with Constant Hustle. I was thinking
Nightfall.
Concrete Comics because you said Concrete Comics.
Yeah. And that's where it started. So it's fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so I got my books, got my copies, and I've been reading them. I'm like, the dude can write. So he's dealing with a lot of characters, and he's dealing with characters from other people's verses. And the thing that I appreciated the most was he just wasn't highlighting his characters. He just wasn't, making his characters the stars or the main characters. He was servicing the story, and wherever the story took you is where the story took you. And I really, really dug that. And I got to thinking, I'm a huge manga fan. I love Naruto. I love My Hero Academia. I love how they're written. I love how they have a care for characters. I love how they make you care about characters that you didn't even know what was going to be a focus at some point. And it made me think of Brian and how he writes and how he puts things together. And I was like, you know what, man? Like, I am very well self-aware of my abilities and where I'm at. And yeah, I can write a comic book, and I might write the fuck out of one once or twice. But the things that we have going on at Emerald Quest, I looked at that and I was like, I need somebody that is better, that can put together a map of characters and deal with several personalities and build up clashing points and have this battlefield laid out for them, this battlefield timeline can do that. And based off the conversations I've had with Brian and what I've read from him, Brian was the person to do that. All that to say, we got the first run of the script in. Hey, your boy got it. I saved it because I had to read 3 scripts. I had to read 3 scripts, including Brian. So I saved it for my Saturday. And Brian hit me up, was like, hey, did you get a chance to read it? I was like, no, today's my day though. I'm going through it. I got 2 others to read. He's like, all right, bet. So I finally get the Brian script. I start reading it, and I'm like, okay, all right. Oh shit, that's a bar. That's a bar. All right. Fuck, that's another bar. Hold on, what we doing? Okay. Brian had me like reading this from page to page. He had me wanting to get to the next page to see what was happening. And then, like the things that we talked about, I saw him putting them in play here. And then already, and it's dumb. It's dumb because I'm the one that told him what was going on in the story. But I'm here like, I see the connectors. I see the web that he's making. And the characters that he's building up. I see it happening right there on the page. And I'm like, that's fire. That's fire. There's at least 3 bars, 3 quotes in there that I love. That I'm like, oh, this is going to be a hit because like, I'm not even reading this as a creator. I'm reading this purely as a fan of what he wrote, and I'm quoting his writing. So yeah, I wanted to be able to. I wanted to be able to see that show, man.
No, you know what? So in our first conversation, man, and this is what made me honestly want to write it. We were talking, and you were telling me kind of the story, and I was like, "Wait, so I get to write Star Wars?" And you were like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess." And I was like, "Nah." With everything you told me, I get to write Star Wars, right? And you were like, yeah, actually. And I was like, okay, go, say less. Like, I got no problem. Emerald Quest gives me a chance to like, well, I kind of hate when people say this, but it's true just because of how things go. Like, I get to return to my roots. I get to write fantasy again, right? But like, for me, Justice is fantasy. For me, Nightfall is fantasy. I don't necessarily know that it's returning to my roots, but like, sword and sorcery type fantasy. It lets me expand upon that and do that. And again, like I said, this is not necessarily Star Wars, right? But it's my take on that kind of epic, kind of timeless, lengthy story. No one talks about like when you go and you write Star Wars, they call it like a space opera. No one talks about like a forest opera. You know what I mean? Like no one talks about a fantasy. We don't talk about it in those terms, but that's how I'm writing it. I'm writing it like it's a space opera, but set on land. And I know that again, somebody could just say, oh, it's fantasy, but it's not just that. It has so many elements that you've already infused in the first couple issues. So it's fun to be able to play with. Don't get me wrong, it's frustrating too, right? Because then I'm like, oh man, I want to do such and such, but then I got to go back and check and say, hey, what has this person done 10 years before we got here? What's this person's history? And if you have an extensive history for this person, it might change the trajectory that I was going to have for that character.
Right.
So I like being able to set up things in a way to where I understand the characters and I understand like the overall motivations for them. And then once you set that up, in my opinion, if you kind of just let them play in their own world, because of their motivations, they're going to interact. Because of their motivations, they're going to say these things. Anybody who's a fan of Emerald Quest or who's read Emerald Quest, Noble is a dude who talks to himself, right? Like, we know because we're readers that like he's talking to his father. It has to do with the shard and this and that, right? But no, we don't know that. What the world knows is that he talks to himself. So I feel like there's a particular part in issue 5 when you guys will get to it where it kind of expands on his character within that piece of it. And it's about the way he's more or less perceived in the world as opposed to what's actually happening. And I feel like he's a person who would be very aware of that. I feel like, for lack of better words, he's a black man walking through a corporate world. He knows he's got some privilege. He knows he's got some power. But at the end of the day, he knows he's still a black man and all the perceptions that go with that. So when you apply that to a fantasy world, again, how does that character react? He knows that, yeah, while maybe they're accepting of me right now, at the end of the day, I'm still black and I still ain't one of them. Right. And so I feel like those kind of nuanced issues and voices and thoughts, they're very important to characters. And I think that sometimes in our rush to do indie comics, and I mean across the board, we miss a lot of that, right? We want the pow, the bang, the splash page, Superman hits a guy. Like all of that's great. And obviously I love that too. But without that, you get a kind of a soulless character. And I never... especially my own characters, but especially when I'm writing something that Mike has kind of set out like this, I never wanted to be soulless. I wanted I wanted to eat, you know what I mean? I wanted to eat on its own. And that's super important to me. And that's something I love actually about Emerald Quest and being able to dive in all these different and nuanced relationships.
So I think that's something that you definitely did. The way that you broke down Neo, who is one of our characters, that in a conversation with you, this character got a bigger role in the story. And when you went back and you were like talking, doing this character's part in the story, I'm like, all right, so where you taking this? Where you going? Where you going? Where you going? Because like, even though like we have these conversations and we put the story out there and we're like, so Brian, this is what I need to happen in this issue, or this is what I need to have in this arc. However you want to get there is up to you, but I need A, B, and C to happen because of this. And so it's still a mystery to me when I read it. Thank you. I think that's my.
That's gonna be Mal, right?
Yeah. It's still a mystery to me on how you get there. And then when we got the reveal at the last of the issue, I was like, no, he didn't. No, he did not. Oh, no, he did not. It was like I was a real genuine fan because I was like, I didn't see it coming. And then I read it, I was like, this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna tell y'all what that reveal is because I want y'all to be hyped when y'all see it.
It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be super dope. I promise.
Because it was right there. And then I'm like, that's the part I love about collaboration, being able to do little nuggets like that. But Camille's story is so like it's there and it's just dope where we're taking it. And then it was just well written, man. It was
thank you.
And then we're gonna put that on top of Seth's pen and inks and his grayscale. It's like Eric's doing the lettering and editing and all these pieces are coming together, and that made and you know about this. You're a publisher, you run your own studio, making decisions that are costly decisions, but you feel they're for the greater good. So we're going. I want Seth is our ongoing artist, but I want him to go back and redraw issues 1 and issues 3, so all the books look the same. We're gonna when the books are released, we're doing black and white, keeping them black and white because they look great in black and white, and saving the colors for the trades. Trying to break a little bit into that manga market.
So I think there's another element to it that again, that's one that's not discussed because again, we're in a niche market and we are in indie comics. But again, if we don't acknowledge that we're in Black indie comics as well, then we're doing a disservice to the work that we're doing. And so for me, a lot of times you can have some great comics in general, but they lack the pageantry. It's real easy to have people say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, or have their character do something really, really cool, but they've never built up why that thing is important, why the character does that cool thing. The pageantry isn't there, right? Like we just get there and it happened and great. We need the pageantry. We want the pageantry of building an epic story, right? Of building okay, anytime you have a book named Quest, it doesn't end in 3 issues, right? It doesn't end in 4 issues. You've got to build like, okay, there's a quest is Tolkien. A quest is a thing. Like it's so those kinds of pieces are important. And when we were talking originally and you told me about some of the cameos that were going to happen and some other things that I could kind of play with, you know, again, that's fodder for me. That makes it fun. So I can bring in, you know, my friends. I can, you know, give little Easter eggs and hints to some things that are going to come later, because that's another part of it. It's great to just tell a story, but if I give you a kernel in issue 5 and it pays off in issue 10, then you always go back after issue 10, like, oh, damn, he did say that in the beginning, as opposed to just me dropping it on you. And it just, again, it has more significance, which is what I want. I want these books to have significance. Otherwise, I wouldn't work on them, right? Like, otherwise, I would just be like, nah, Mike, I don't have time. Nah, it's not worth it, right? I want them to be what they're supposed to be. And I approach Justice like that. I approach Nightfall like that. Any crossovers I do, I approach any editing I do, which I've edited for Greg Anderson, Lise, and Danny Quick, and a bunch of other people, right? Like, I want it to all be. We always talk about the big 2, and we always talk about competing with them and where we're at in the market, and even manga. Like, we're talking about manga sales and all these other things. I want us to not only compete in terms of how we feel, but the quality of the product that we put out.
Right? Yeah,
that's huge for me.
That was a lot.
That was a nice little geek out session, because I told him in text messages, but not to that degree. He had to get the voice and voice.
Yeah. We hadn't really talked about it. I knew you were happy. I knew that it worked, but you know what I mean? I wasn't exactly sure to the degree that it was like, okay, I've made the right move here. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm heading the correct direction, which is obviously super important for everything we do.
Absolutely. So, and it's also a little bit of a cheat with me, because now, you know, I get to see inside of how you work and how you put a story together. And, you know, I'm taking notes on that because I want to be able to put stronger stories together. And, you know, it's something that I'm trying to do, because I'm trying to be able to tell the story. Like, my brother Victor read over issue 12 of Hot Shot with me as I did the monologue over the art, because I kind of do a Marvel style when I'm writing the book myself and drawing it or whatnot. And, you know, Victor was telling me a key portions that I'm missing in the story that I'm telling, you know, going back and editing and putting that back in and really trying to like think of the dialogue, but not just the dialogue to tell the story, but the dialogue that's going to move the story. Like, what is this character going to say in that moment? What is their reaction? Thank you, J-Man. Like, what is their reaction in that moment? Like, I want people to be gripped by issue 12 of Hot Shot, and like not just the violence of it, but feel the emotional tears that are happening within that in that story between his mom, his sister, his stepfather, and him. You know, and just, you know, telling people about like the overall thing. Like, I found out a lot of my creative friends have gone through the same thing that I have. Not to say that I'm oblivious to say that doesn't happen in the world, because I know it does, but I just didn't realize it happened to so many people that I knew and worked with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, and so you and I worked on issue 10. Was it 10 or 11? 10, yeah. And so I try to do the same thing of the why. And it's easy to say that, I'm the why, right? But like, the why is very important, especially again when we're creatives, we're living in our head. You who is drawing and writing it, you can skip over so many parts. Oh, this happened just because of such and such. But if it's not on the page, it doesn't matter, right? Like, because nobody knows. So you've got to go back and again, it's that little bit of nuance. It's that one facial expression. It's there's a part in Justice #1 that I still have people asking about, which I love. Excuse me, because it's going to pay off in just a little bit of time. But in Justice issue 1, he runs into a police officer. A police officer comes up on the crime scene, immediately shoots Justice in the back, does the whole, oh, he's got a gun, blah, 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 blah. You get one look back from Justice. All he does is look over his shoulder. It's a close up. But I've had people asking me about that since issue 1. Is it, what does that mean? Did he curse him? Did he do this? Did he do that? And there are some things and some pieces where people have seen this character, this police character again, they just don't know it yet. But when in issue 5 or 6, when I finally pay it off, then it's going to be like, oh, damn. Okay, cool. You've been laying this groundwork, you know what I mean, the entire time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Malachi. I am the Suge Knight of indie comics. If I call somebody, I call Danny at 6 o'clock in the morning, my time. Even though it's 9 o'clock his time, he's like, what did I do now, bro? What did I do? So, I mean, it is what it is, man. I just want us to be the best. But again, I love the guys at Fourth Wall as well. I love Danny and Morgan. Those are my boys. Unlikely Hero Studios, I love them. There are so many creators that have been there for me, and I get to be there for them, and we kind of all work together, which is a beautiful thing. I love it to death.
That's what's up. I'm getting distracted looking at this character with these locks.
Right. I know that's one of the hardest parts of Justice as well, like getting those down. I know I give Fabio a headache having him do it, but I love to see it when it comes together, right? When it comes together right, it's right.
Right.
Yeah, it's a pain, but I love doing the hair on these characters. I feel like I got my own little barber shop or salon when I'm doing it and combing this hair together. Yeah. So is this the first 4 issues one complete story arc?
Yes. So that's something, okay, I should say this as well. This is something you're always going to get from Wingless Comics. And this is something I learned from Jason Reeves at 133 Art, right? And again, I don't want you to feel anything, Mike, no shade to you. Mm-hmm. You had 12 issues of Hot Shot. That is amazing. When I got in the game about 3 years ago, I had the same, I was like, man, my first arc's going to be 7 issues, blah, 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 on and on and on. And Jason was like, why would you make your audience wait potentially 7 years to get one story from you? And I was like, ooh, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because a lot of times,
like that.
Right, it's very hard for indie creators to do more than one comic on one series per year because of the market and everything else. So when he approached it like that, or approached me with that, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. So I cut it down to 4 issues. And I had to be confident that I could tell the complete story in that amount of time, which I definitely am. And so the story arcs that you will get from Wingless Comics in general will be between 3 and 5 issues, probably tops. We've done Nightfall, which was obviously the crossover, which was 5 issues, but we were very ardent about getting that out within 2 years. Again, I don't want anybody waiting 5 years to get a story from me. I don't want anybody waiting 4 years. It's been 4 years, give or take. But in that meantime of that, we've had, 2 and 3 and 4 other comics launching and other things, so that we make sure that we're continuing to entertain and continuing to tell stories and continuing to get like our brand of storytelling out there. So as we come to a close with this first story arc, issue 5 is going to launch early next year, more than likely in February. And that's going to be probably a double-sized issue. I've been saying it for a minute now. Issue 5 is going to be a comic unlike any you've ever seen before. The format of it is going to be unlike any other comic that's been out there. You will be able to read it from front to back and from back to front. And so the storytelling mechanic obviously has a lot to do with the story. I don't want to give anything away because once I reveal these covers, I have a feeling I'm going to get another call from Mike yelling at me as to why I did that ahead of time. But we got a pretty awesome and ambitious plan for issue 5.
Okay. Well, that's good that you should expect a call from me. That's great. I'm glad you are picking up on the little tidbits and me.
Right. It's the nuance, man. It's all about the nuance.
Yeah. Oh, so Malachi said number 5 is coming for everyone's edges.
You know what? Most of the time I won't indulge Malachi. I'm like, no. This time I would have to respectfully agree. Like I said, number 5 is just going to be. It's not experimental. I don't want to say it's experimental. It's just different, right? It's one of those things where I feel like this will be a key issue. I feel like every issue of Justice is a key issue, but I feel like this will be a key issue because, again, it's going to be very different than anything that's out there in the indie space and 99% of the things that are out there in the mainstream space, just in terms of how the story is laid out and how we're going to present it to you. But it's going to be one that you're going to love. It's going to be a pretty classic tale in terms of what's going to happen and what's going to be the interaction. It's going to open up the Wingless world a little bit more, so you see how all these characters overlap. And it's, again, it's just going to be a very expansive kind of piece, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Malachi said y'all been talking about it for years now, so he's ready to celebrate. Apparently,
yes. Like I said, it's going to be every issue for Wingless Comics and every issue I write, I try to make a turning point for whatever story I'm telling. This is definitely going to be that. Just like number 4. Number 4, even though it is the end of the initial arc of Justice, it's a turning point for the characters. Every single one of them that's in there. It's a turning point for every journey. I keep saying all roads lead here because they do. In issue 1, you learn some things about some people. And issue 2, you learn more, right? And you learn how these things are interconnected, and some of the these are long-lived individuals, right? These are vampires. These are werewolves. This is Judas. This is Cain. If I'm talking about Cain, that means this is biblical Cain. He's been around since the beginning. Judas has been around since BC. So these things are huge in terms of how far-reaching they can be.
right?
So again, issue 4 is in that same vein of a turning point in terms of the storytelling in the world we're creating for Wingless Comics. Not just Justice itself, but the entire world where all these things are very organic and they interact and they bounce off of each other depending on how far reaching they are and how large of an issue it is. After we get through the first Justice story arc, a lot of the comics pick up after Nightfall. You know, Her is a post-Nightfall comic, Immortalis pre-Nightfall. Avery the Astonishing, which we're doing in conjunction with Constant Hustle Comics, we're publishing it now. That's going to be that's a post-Nightfall comic. So what that means is Nightfall creates another layer of history for this entire world and this entire universe that we're going to continue, obviously, as we continue to produce comics.
Wow, that's
I
a
love
lot.
it.
Malachi
Damn
also
it,
said we
damn
need a
it.
big crossover with you and Mike. Just FYI.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about it. I got an artist, and I got a couple people in the ducks that we can put on it.
Remember, we have
For this
that
crossover.
we have that thing. Remember, I haven't written it yet, but remember, we have a thing.
Wait, we have a thing, but it's not
We-
written yet. Hold
We
on.
have
We have a thing.
there is a nicely sized crossover with Mike and a few other creators who I'm going to leave nameless just for the moment. But we have a thing. We have a thing. I just haven't. I've got the treatment down for it, so it actually exists. I just don't have the finalized script for this piece.
Okay. They got the worried face in the chat.
Oh, that's just because Malachi. I didn't tell him this one. Most of the time, Malachi knows all the story elements and all the things. He doesn't know this one, so this one will be even a surprise for him. It's going to be great.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is
So
a
we
big
do
thing.
have
Gotcha.
yes. We do have. Okay, so this is another thing about Wingless Comics. Wingless Comics is built on a platform that is malleable in terms of any character that you see can show up at any time. And there's always a plausible way. It's not just stuck in there. There are reasons that said character would show up, and there are ways that make it plausible without interrupting any other continuity that this character might be a part of.
Okay.
So in this crossover, this event that Mike and I have talked about, and I've talked about with a few other people, in order to make it happen, quite a few characters that you know and love on the indie scene will be interacting to save the world. We know that's what it's all about anyway. We're not going to have a comic so they can all go to the mall. So
Right.
So yes. It you know what? I actually got to get on it. I'll add that to the list, but I'll try to have that done and scripted by the end of the year so we can get it into production.
Huh.
Malachi also said, plus he has a bad memory.
He
So
does. He has the memory of a goldfish. Jesus, Lord in heaven. Yeah, I'm loving that, Mike. I'm
did you
loving
all
that layout,
want
bro.
to
Thank you.
Did you all want to discuss any current events or any movies or anything like that coming up?
Actually, I do, because I got to get this off my chest.
Oh, Lord.
All right, so look. Here's my disclaimer.
Wait, is there a spoiler alert?
Oh, no, fuck that. Ain't no spoiler alert.
No. Okay. Go ahead. I'm
If
ready.
you have not seen this movie yet, you ain't gonna go see it.
Okay.
Ant-Man.
Mhm.
Here's my disclaimer. I enjoyed it. But I
Okay.
also understand what Ant-Man is. What an Ant-Man film is in the MCU.
Mhm.
Ant-Man is not Endgame. It is
No.
not Captain America. It is not Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-mm.
It is not Thor. It is not any of their big set piece characters. Ant-Man is a story movie. That means the piece of the story that we need to move to the next chapter will happen in the Ant-Man film.
Mhm.
Ant-Man is one of these films that is projected to make 3 to 400 million dollars. That's before the pandemic.
Mhm.
And it happened to do 600 million. And they were surprised by that. But that's the range. And now you're talking about after the pandemic, an Ant-Man movie making 200 million or whatnot.
Mhm.
It's not Captain America. It was still entertaining, but I do understand the grievances because I got a couple of them. I
Go
got
ahead.
a couple of them right now because I tried to watch my Ant-Man because I love Kang and I do like Ant-Man. And I
Okay.
think they got some good stuff in there. But damn it, his daughter is an asshole.
Yo, yes. Oh, okay. Yes. Yes.
Agreed.
His daughter is beyond an asshole, and the disrespect she tosses to a man who has saved the world twice.
Right. Right.
For the reason you are no longer dust, and insulting him because he wants to enjoy living.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, okay.
This is
So
the most realistic response to saving the world twice I have ever seen a hero do. And you know what? That was close. Like
right.
we almost died.
Yeah.
I'm gonna chill for a minute. I'm gonna enjoy this money. I'm gonna enjoy my girl, my family, my kids.
Mhm.
I'm gonna enjoy some life. Take a little bit of the super. Now, if something happened in front of me, like a mugging or something, I'm not gonna slide.
yeah.
I'm near. But
Excuse me.
I'm stepping out for a second.
Yeah.
And Michelle Pfeiffer is the worst.
I don't think she is though. Okay, so look, real quick.
Let's go.
Right?
No.
So I did have my problems with it, right? I think my problem with Cassie was that she was written like a teen. She was written like they write teenagers, right? She wasn't written like her character at all.
Right.
They just wrote her like stock teenager. She's angry at her dad for not doing more. I would have been more happy if she was angry that she didn't get a power suit, right? If she's mad because y'all do superhero stuff and I don't get to, that's different. That's different than her being like, you don't care about the world. And he's like, no, I'm literally the entire reason. Like the time heist was my idea, bro. Like, you know what I mean? So that didn't make sense, right? So I did not like her character, but I understood why they had to do it because they had to kind of create conflict. I don't think that Michelle Pfeiffer's character is the worst because I feel like they were all stupid. Like, look, if I'm around anybody and I'm like, hey man, what happened over there? And she's like, don't worry about it. I'm worried about it. Like immediately, there is no don't worry about it, right? So I feel like some of the things were done to create the tension for the movie, but then I go back and I look at a movie like Iron Man. We love Iron Man. I love Iron Man, the first one, right? It's a cool movie. It's good, and like the suit looks cool, and we hadn't seen a movie done like that previously.
Yeah.
But it had the same, like they created the same kind of tension for no reason. They give you these little pieces because they got to build stuff. I was probably the most mad that they didn't just take one of the growth things and push it and get out of the quantum zone like they did in the first movie. They were like, we can't get out the quantum realm. Bro, he literally just took a growth one to get out the quantum realm in the first movie. So like now we can't? Like now it don't work? That made me mad.
So here's my disclaimer. Here's my disclaimer to that. When I go to a movie, obviously you got to tell the story. You got to get us from point A to point Z or whatnot. But I feel like your main job, which is what your main job, which is what the Fast and Furious series used to be good at, is make the movie so likable and the characters likable that you don't get taken out the movie.
Yeah.
That you don't question something that you would normally question. That you've enjoyed the characters so much, you're like, I'll let that shit slide. That ain't
right.
Yeah.
It's good. And that's what they didn't do with Michelle Pfeiffer for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because if she just would have, I understand it was, and I tried to explain it away. I really did. I understand it was a traumatic situation. There was a lot of trauma involved. That you don't want to, you're out, you're back home. You don't want to deal with that shit no more because we ain't going back. If you would have just had one conversation, Michelle Pfeiffer said, there's an egomaniac with centuries tech way above us that is trying to get out of there. So please do not go into the quantum realm.
Even if you didn't have it before, when the thing happens, hey, I ain't told y'all before this, but there's this dude, you know what I mean? Like, it's not hard. It's so, I feel like she was the person when we were young, we was about to get jumped and they knew we was about to get jumped and they just didn't say nothing. And then somebody gets swung on it. Why didn't you tell us we was walking over here where they want to fight you? Like, it's super simple. Right. But again, I feel like they did some of that to create tension, but I also feel like Iron Man 3 did something really good that I think has been missing, and I think was missing from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and that is the fact that they showed Tony had PTSD. They showed him, that the wormhole messed him up. They didn't take like the little bit of time to show, hey, she was messed up mentally. Like she was in that space where not just, hey, I don't want to talk about it, but it's an actual traumatic experience. And I think that we were too deep into the movie before they tried to show that, because now you've shown the villain. Now you set all these other things up. You've had all these other things happen. But again, though, look, if you say that Ant-Man Quantumania isn't on par with Thor 1 or better than Thor 2 or on par with Thor Love and Thunder or you know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of movies that it matches up with in terms of
and that's the difference. That's the difference between some of these MCU fans. I absolutely agree with that statement. Right. While I don't think Ant-Man 3 is the strongest iteration in the franchise for Ant-Man, it's definitely on par with some of these other MCU movies.
Exactly.
And still entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I when Cassie started that shit, I turned her ass off. I turned the damn movie off.
100%.
And then I had to count to 3 and go back in and just fast forward because it's just disrespectful.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like a disrespectful child, especially when they're aware of what their parent can do.
Right. Yeah. It's that overly precocious, cute shit that they try to do, and it doesn't. Okay, look, when the Olsen twins did it on Full House in 1993, right? Like, okay, cool, they were spunky, right? Because they were like children. But there's this, I don't know, there's this thing where, again, somebody who has zero life experience is like trying to stare down, again, a dude who just literally saved the world and say that he ain't shit. And it's like, well, that doesn't, it just doesn't work. Nonsense.
Right.
And he saves your life twice while he's doing all this stuff.
Shit, I think I lost you guys.
Are you not there? Can
you hear us? Here.
We got you.
I'm here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
You got a full signal.
Hello.
I'm rocking a full signal too.
Mine looks good.
Brian, hey, there you go. He's gonna come in and come back out. So it also spreads over to these disrespectful children. I was watching the new Star Wars today, which I did not know came out. Visions, Star Wars Visions. The season 2 came out, and they've had these 3 episodes that involve these children, and they're hard-headed. They're hard-headed, and they disobeying and causing trouble. There's one kid their planet got taken over, and the Empire took all the water, and it's in their factory. And so they're the last two remaining people in their village. No one else is around. They're the last two remaining people, and they have a limited water supply. And the older sister has to go get more water. Sister says to the younger child, stay here. I'll go get the water. You hide. I'll come back. She goes and gets the water. No problem. She looks over. There's her sibling caught by the Empire. Now she's got to go save the sibling. And then saves the sibling, yanking the sibling along. They get to going, and they're about to get away. And the sibling's like, no, we have to take them down. Whoa. What are you?
Right. Hold on. That wasn't the plan.
So the sibling jumps off the conveyor belt and starts to use the force. Little child, you do not have the force. You have not displayed 1 ounce of force powers, and you about to get us killed. So the sibling gets knocked off the building because the sibling got no damn force powers.
Right.
Can you hear Brian?
Yes, I got you back.
All right. And ain't got no force powers. So the older sister reaches out and catches the sibling with the force powers. And so they turn around, end up using the force to break the building and shit. And the little siblings are like, oh, yay, I told you we can do it. You know what I would have did at that moment?
Beat her tail.
I'd have whooped her ass. You ain't going to tell me what we going to do when I told you to just sit here. Like that was all coincidence and luck.
Right.
You died 3 times. I could have got that water and we could have been back here drinking. You do what I say when I say it. This is life and death. But we're not about to play off of this because we won, because we took out the building.
Yeah.
It made me so mad.
Yeah.
I hate a badass child.
And we lost Brian again, but hopefully he'll be back. There was a little echo when he came back. So, yeah.
I'm going to blame that child. It's all that child's fault.
I'm pretty sure it was the child's fault. Sorry, I started having a little pain there. I had to take some pain medicine real quick.
No, I dig it. I dig it. That dentist pain is a different type. So I feel you.
I've been feeling okay, so hopefully I'm good. Oh, he's backstage. Just bring him back. Come on back, Brian.
What's up? You there? I don't know what's happening.
Brian. Somebody said, "Make us trust you." Hope in her bad wig. That was a bad wig.
Brian, are you using, I don't know if you can hear us, but are you using Chrome or Firefox? I would use those 2 browsers.
I'm trying to make sure I cover this label since they're not sponsoring us.
Try cover the label. Try Chrome. Yeah, so but outside of that though, season 2 was very strong. Some very good episodes on there. If you did not know it was on there and you're a Star Wars fan, go check it out because I didn't know it was on there.
I need the company sponsored Disney Plus login is what I need. I've been trying to get one for a couple months now.
Hey, I need that one too. Shoot.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish this one on the show.
If not, I mean, it's looking pretty good. Was there any other current events that you wanted to talk about tonight? Any movies that recently came out that I still haven't seen because I was laid up with the root canal?
Fast and Furious 10 comes out.
Oh, it comes out this weekend?
Yes. Vin Diesel better not let me down. I don't trust him anymore. Fast and Furious 9.
Let you down? So how would he do that?
If he makes another trash ass movie like Fast and Furious 9.
Oh, okay. Well, good luck with that.
Hey, I see the doubt in your face. Like, Mike, what do you mean 9? All of them is trash.
No, I don't feel like. Okay, so this. I stopped watching after Paul Walker passed.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time I watched it.
Okay.
And then I did watch the spinoff Hobbs and Shaw, which I thought was cute. Very unrealistic, but still very cute. And plus it had Idris Elba, so you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm like 5 behind, I guess. Because we'll see, that was the 5, 6 maybe? No, either 5 or 6. And then after that, I was like, so needless to say, even though I'm a Vin Diesel fan, I love Vin Diesel. His voice alone. Ooh, Jesus. But these fastest and furious and more furious and less fast and Fast 6 and Furious 9, it's a lot
Look,
for the same thing.
all I'm saying is that he just needs to make the movies just need to be entertaining. All right.
Have they not been? Cars flying through the air, getting pulled on by somebody's strong muscles. Let me pull this car out the air with my muscles. Come on, y'all.
Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase it. Vin thinks he's the star of this movie. The movies are only loved because of the ensemble cast. He keeps taking up more damn screen time, thinking he's a superhero.
Who would you prefer take up more screen time?
I want the entire family on. Like, I want them all to have their moments. Like,
it is about family.
Yeah, it's about family, so it needs to be evenly dispersed. Like stop focusing on Vin Diesel so much. Like, he's not Optimus Prime, but he wants to be Optimus Prime.
But he's giving Optimus Prime. I mean,
look. You got
okay, I'm biased. Okay, obviously I'm biased.
The muscles in that face and all that. All right.
The muscles been slacking lately. I was watching for some reason. I guess I was on a little like pitch black kick, and so I watched all 3 of those movies: Pitch Black, Chronicles of Riddick, and Riddick. And those are the muscles that he needs to bring back to Fast and the Furious. Because
you do need to get back in shape. But like,
he's been eating donuts.
it's so much wrong with it. Like, because I feel like the show just really started going wrong when him and The Rock got into it.
Yeah, I could see that.
He wants The Rock's fame. He wants to be The Rock.
But he's him, and that's enough. He needs me. He needs me, so I can just be like, baby, you're Vin Diesel. That's enough. That's enough. More than The Rock. Okay.
You need to go reassure him.
Yes, he needs some words of affirmation from me.
There you go. He does need it.
Unless he's married. If he's married, then disregard all of that I just said. You can get him from his wife now. Paper beats Rock, apparently. Okay, JD Smith.
Hey, Paper does beat Rock.
It does.
But ever since that competition has started with them and they started having that feud, everything went to hell. Because like The Rock would do something dope in the movie and Vin had to do something doper. And it just went back and forth. Then The Rock got Hobbs and Shaw, and he's just The Rock and Jason Statham raped the word family in their movie. Like there's levels to this. You can't. They thought Hobbs and Shaw was on Hobbs and Shaw 5. So all the shit that they was doing in that movie, you got to gradually move up to the power of family. You just can't do the power of family times 5 in your first solo film or whatnot. The Rock did all that stuff, pulling helicopters down with his bare arms and shit. And then Vin saw that, he said, "Oh, well, I gotta raise the level. I got to break a dam. I got to jump over a canyon like a yo-yo with my car." And the competition between it made things more, and it hurt.
Vin Diesel got triple furious. Rock got Black Adam. Womp womp womp.
Yeah, no, The Rock ain't got Black Adam no more.
Black Adam got The Rock,
and
it chewed him up and spit him out. Bless his heart.
It definitely did.
I still haven't seen that movie all the way through, but anyway, it just didn't keep me. I don't know why. I was just like, what am I missing? It just didn't give what it was supposed to have gave.
I just want him to let other people be in the film too. Like, it ain't just him. Like, he's not the reason. And I'll bet money on this. I can ask any Fast and Furious fan, except for people that are attracted to him, that he is not the reason that we're going to go see these movies. We're going to see the movies because everybody is in this movie. This ensemble cast, these guest stars that you put in the movie. We're going to see everybody. So, and when you get him on scene, Epic is a John Cena. I am not a John Cena fan.
I was about to say, really?
I am not. John Cena was terrible in Fast and Furious. I don't like John Cena as an actor, but he proved me wrong in Suicide Squad. He really brought out his acting chops.
Yeah, that was something. That was definitely something because I really believe that character.
Yeah.
Also, do you feel the same way about shoot, what was his little show with Eagly? What was that called? Oh my god.
Eagly, what show?
He had a little series on HBO or one of those.
Oh, the Peacemaker show.
Peacemaker, yeah.
I thought Peacemaker was good, but when they do a second season of it, it can't be the same thing that they just did because
I hope not.
Peacemaker was entertaining, but it was a bunch of dick and fart jokes. And I'm not going to watch the show if that's what it's all going to be composed of. Again, next season, we need to have some character growth for this dude.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it was entertaining. It was good.
Yeah.
For what it was or whatnot. So I mean, Cena surprised me with his acting.
Yeah.
That he could. So it just really shows that. I mean, he's not the greatest actor, but he, like you said, he was believable.
Yeah, that role was good for him. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think trying to give Brian a chance to get back in here.
Okay.
I'm at least I'm gonna see probably get the dreadlocks done if we can't get them back in here by the time these dreadlocks is finished. Then we'll wrap it up tonight. But make sure you go over to his Kickstarter, y'all. Check out his Kickstarter. I'm putting the link in the chat. Give him a share. Give him a pledge or whatnot. So, are you in? You're going to go see Fast and Furious this weekend, Amelia?
No, because I have to catch up on my other movies that I haven't seen in the past 2 weeks.
Which movies? What you want to catch up on?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Woo! Yo, that movie.
I know I'm gonna cry. I already heard.
That movie is amazing.
So, in the rankings of 1, 2, and 3, which how would you rank them?
3, 1, and 2.
Really? 3 was better than 1?
Yeah.
Okay. 2 was always last.
To me, 3 was better than 1.
Wow. Okay.
They definitely
keep
did
that in mind.
They definitely did their thing. They wrapped up stories super well. A lot of things came full circle in that movie. A lot of characters. I mean, the movie wouldn't be as good as it is without those other films, though. But they definitely. Oh, hold up, the dreadlocks look good.
Yeah.
But James Gunn as a director and everybody as the actors and production team and stuff, they did their damn thing on that movie. That movie closed out strong. It probably is my favorite trilogy in the MCU right now. I'm holding on by a lifeline that Captain America is still the best trilogy, but Cap 1 isn't as strong as the other 2 films, and Guardians is strong for 1, 2, and 3 all the way through.
Have to disagree with you on 2.
Woo! Hold up. What are we talking about? What's happening?
I was not feeling 2 at all.
Why not?
I have to go back and watch it again, but I remember when I watched it, I was just like, "Oh, that's stupid."
Stupid.
Like, why are they doing that? That's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I have to go back and watch it again, but I remember when I watched it, I was just like, I could have done without this.
Really?
Yes. Like there was some parts that were necessary for like the bigger storyline, but like Yeah, I'm trying to remember it. Like I remember Kurt Russell being on there, and
See,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to rewatch it again.
nah, I mean, obviously to each his own, but I really love to, and I might have connected more so with it because I have daddy issues.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
my stepfather wasn't the best.
Mm,
My father was even worse.
mm,
And so my grandfather ended up, being was like my real father. Well, being my father, being
yeah.
that placeholder, or whatnot. So like when uh Yandu was talking to Rocket, I love that connection between Yandu and Rocket. I thought that conversation was real strong. Peter, the want for a father to be there, but it's not the father that you want, and the father that you needed had been there the entire time. The
Mhm.
appreciation of that, uh, him start realizing that the sacrifice of the characters, the argumentativeness of them. I feel like they did the family thing, the dysfunctional family really well.
I
And
agree with that.
a lot of times they jailed more so than the Avengers did.
I agree. It was just something about this whole story. I was just like, but like I like those little side pieces though,
Mhm.
which were like the main pieces, but they were like little side pieces to get to the main piece.
Right, 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 right.
um, but yeah,
That
so I
makes
need to
sense.
see that. I want to see Chevalier, but it's already going out the movie theater.
What is Chevalier?
It's this like movie about this black man in like back
Oh,
in the
was he playing the
day.
violin?
Huh? Yeah, that one, that guy.
Okay.
And it's based on a true story. That's why I really wanted to see it because I was just like, what is this based on a true story? I never heard of this. But it's already gone. So I guess I have to catch it on Netflix or whenever it comes on whatever streaming service it comes on.
Oh, my wife had me watching Queen Charlotte on Netflix.
I haven't started that one because guess what?
Well,
Don't don't tell the other black folks. I never watched Bridgerton.
I haven't either, but I don't think you need to watch
But I
Bridgerton.
want to because I want to experience it like all the people who are now watching Queen Charlotte.
But I'm telling you right now, um, so in my studio, I got two TVs that back to back. So when I have people over and we play games, but also so my wife can watch what she wants to watch, and I can play video games on the other TV. I
Mhm.
was playing the game while she was watching it. I was playing with my friend. Who was I playing with? I was playing with Dakota and Ryan, and I was like, "Hey, no, I was playing with Ryan." I was like, "Ryan, I gotta go, man. I'm pulled into this damn show. I gotta go.
Mm.
I'll call you back when it's over. We're on the last episode." I mean, the show pulled me in, and I have not watched Bridgerton. It was good.
I'm still gonna watch Bridgerton first because it's just 3 seasons, and I can binge that because I just binge watched Couples Therapy.
Hmm.
Have you ever watched that? It's on Showtime.
I've watched it on the TikTok. I got a lot of video clips of it, and when I catch one on my little my bedtime power down when I'm in the bed
Uh-huh.
and trying to cool down. When I catch one, I go to that person's page and I start watching all the ones they got.
Right, but yeah, so I binge watched that in like because I was laid up because of the root canal situation.
Yeah.
I watched that in like 3 days.
Okay.
And it's like three seasons, and the last season is 18 episodes.
See, that's so crazy to me because I've never heard of that show, and it's already on 3 seasons,
Yeah,
and like I'm wondering if
it's good though.
TikTok is making these shows more popular.
Probably because that's the thing. Like, if you don't see it or you don't usually watch, like I don't even have Showtime,
Hmm.
but I got that 7 day trial. I was like, I'm about to binge this real quick because I want to watch this one show.
Uh-huh.
So I think you start hearing about it. A podcast that I listened to, they were talking about it. So I was like, okay, let me. Cause matter of fact, let me rewind. My best friend and her husband, they was like, oh, you should watch this. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. And so when I went on my little sabbatical to Miami for a little while, the hotel I was at had Showtime. So I watched like the first season when I was down there, and then I just kind of forgot about it. And then this podcast that I was listening to, they were talking about it. So I was like, okay, I need to binge this real quick, at least get through the seasons.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I like halfway rewatched the first season because I was like, I want to remember everything, and then I started on the second and then the third one, and which should have been 3 and 4, but prior to the strike has affected some stuff and blah blah blah. So yeah. Anywho, so yeah, couples therapy. It's very interesting. I don't have a couple to talk about it with anymore, but I think it's really good for couples and conversations and stuff like that.
Yeah, it looked like they was definitely getting in some combo, some of the stuff that I listened. I was like, oh, I was watching the one dude who said like, I do what I do. I was like, the audacity of you just so open, just
The one
like,
that had
I
cheated
mean,
on his wife.
yeah, I was like, I guess it's cool because you letting her know, but he was like, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
he's an a-hole. Don't like him at all.
it was just the nonchalantness of it for me
The
as he
the
was
lady,
talking about it.
the therapist was like, at one point, she was like, I don't think I'm the therapist for y'all. I was like,
Oh,
dang, you
really?
said that to him just like that, huh? I'm not gonna tell you what ended up happening,
That's
but she said that to them, and I was just like, oh, okay then. Well,
tough.
but also
That's
that
tough.
whenever she has like issues or whatever, she goes to her peer group and she discusses them. And it's really interesting just to see that part of it as well, too. So,
Hmm.
because it's a peer group of like other doctors, other PhDs. Some are probably students. Some are like senior therapists or whatever they're called. But it's really interesting though. Love good little reality television.
Yeah, and then I got caught up watching on TikTok this lawyer show with with this lawyer who's really really good and this other kid who has like a photographic memory and he didn't graduate from Harvard but he knew all the questions and he was convincing, so they let him practice law. And I got caught up into that, watching clips of that, or this show
What's it?
on BET, the couple that has a TV show, and they always get into some shit. I got caught up in watching that. I almost bought a BET subscription just so I could watch it, but then I was like, I'm not gonna do that. There's enough clips on TikTok
Right.
for me to watch. I
Facts.
can't get no more. I can't get no more dang show, no streaming apps.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm trying to convince myself not to get this dang Apple. Apple got a lot of shows on their app that I want to watch.
I got enough shows to watch now. I have Netflix, I kind of have HBO Max, kind of. I have something called Philo, which is like my regular television, like Discovery and BET and the regular ones. And I got Hulu. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
between those, if I can't find something to watch, I just need to sit down somewhere.
See, that's what I be like. If I can't find nothing to watch off of what I have, I just need to stop.
Stop.
Yeah. And then like I said, I saw somebody on TikTok show the new Star Wars episodes, and I was like, see, I didn't even know this shit was on here. I'm missing whole content right now because I'm flipping through TikTok.
Yep, that's how it'll do you.
Oh
What's the
yeah,
next movie coming out after this Little Mermaid?
yeah. I gotta take my daughters to go see that. They're
You should
hyped
definitely
for it.
draw me as the Little Mermaid is what I would appreciate. Thank you very much. I don't know which week we're going to do that, but that should happen. Um,
All right, we
or
can
do
do
you
that.
did you say you draw pinups as well?
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have a pinup version of me that someday my new husband will get tattooed on his body. That would be awesome.
That's such a specific plan and request.
I'm just saying, because like he might have tattoos and he might want one of me, and I might be like, well, here's a cute picture of me as a pinup, and he'll be like, perfect, and I'll be like, I think so too. Let's go to the tattoo shop. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this little bad boy started to pick up some pace now.
Are we going to wrap at 11:30?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I've been sitting here and enjoying the conversation with you, and then getting lost into this piece. So my
Okay.
apologies.
No, you're fine. So I make sure I get my little beauty rest tonight. I took that pill that helped because I was starting to have a little twinge of pain. I was like, oh, hold on now. Hold on.
I remember when I went to the I obviously have I have my own fears of the dentist, and I had to call my best friend at the time to be there with me and hold my hand, and she did and went through the whole little process of the dentist was like, look, you have got to get this medicine. You have got to get this medicine in your system before the nitrogen or whatever it is wears off. Because I'm
Okay.
telling you right now, if you do not get this pill in you before that, it is going to be unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, get us to the pharmacy now.
Immediately. Immediately.
Immediately. No games. No games. I cannot even do that. Yeah, so I definitely feel your pain and know where you're coming from.
Hopefully that'll never happen again. I'm gonna make sure I'm on top of my appointment. It was my fault. I let the pandemonium get in my way. The panini, it just threw me off.
The panini.
The panini, the parabellum.
So, are you excited for Urban NerdCon?
I am. I'm like, let's go. But see, like the only thing is I don't have any new cosplays yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely slipping. So I gotta get my life together and get my new cosplays.
Well, you got plenty of time, I would say.
Plenty of time. Do you know what it takes, darling? Jeez, there's wigs and makeup and materials and sewing and shoes and so many things. Um,
Have you thought of the outsourcing costumes?
kind of. So one that I think I want to have my mom help me with again, because my mom does all my sewing, is I really want to do the stewardess or flight attendant from Fifth Element.
Okay.
I looked it up online. There was one on Etsy for like $300. I was like, no, I think we can make it for less. Then I went to eBay or somewhere, and they had like a really cheap one for like $30. So I'm like, I might get that one, but then just kind of tweak it a little bit. I don't know. I really want to get it like custom made because I really want it to just be like perfect. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't like to outsource my stuff. It's not original. I need it to be original.
Oh well, I'm going to outsource. I want to be the Mandalorian. I'm going to go get. I already got the website. I want to order the costume for him, and then slowly upgrade it to that because everything on it is plastic, like the armor and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly upgrade it to some really good armor. Keep the lower, the underneath bits, but hook the armor and the helmet up over the next couple years.
Yeah. That I could see outsourcing because that's a lot of extra stuff. I did still want to do like a Loki variant, so I might still do that, but I have to decide on what kind of. I was gonna do a workout Loki.
Workout Loki.
Yeah, that way I can just be comfortable. I have on some tennis shoes, a little green onesie, little gold belt or something. I'm the workout variant of Loki. Fitness.
I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. Okay, well, we actually got a decent amount of this done. I'm about to get some reference for these for wings. I suck at drawing wings, and I'd hate to ruin this piece by not having some good wings on here. So I will get some reference for these wings to finish this up. But yeah, here we are with this piece. If it's doing this thing or not. All right, I'll have to finish. Let's see. There we go. All right. Well, tuning in. Amayo, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to end the stream before.